Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to our regularly scheduled programming of cooking for Rosh Hashanah. Today we're making 2 batches of challah dough, and I think that's it because that's a lot of challahs that have to go in small ovens, and it's going to use up all my oven space. And I could technically do stuff on my stove, but no, we're not. We're just going with 2 batches of challah. I'm trying to figure out, I don't know why I don't want to post my, it's not that I don't want to, I do want to, I'm happy to share all my recipes. I just never posted it anywhere yet. And then Ellie was like, well, maybe you should save it if you ever write a cookbook. And I'm like, but I don't want, I don't know. Let's see how the day goes. But let me just show you what I have going on here, okay? Because we're getting started. I should just clarify, I don't have a challah machine. I need it by hand, so I'm going to need both batches by hand. I have everything set up, but I have like things like that I don't think matter, but in my head they matter. You know what I mean? So here we go. This is the bowl from a challah machine, but I just like to rise my challah in it because it's tall, and I think there's something about the challah rising up and not sideways. Like if you have like one of those large flat bowls and it spreads out instead of up, that in my head gives it a better consistency. So my second batch of challah, I'm making in a tall soup pot, and then this way it can also rise up instead of out. Okay, so here we go. In here I have sugar, I have yeast. I'm adding my warm water. Perfect. Now I'm going to do the same thing to this pot. Okay, now I just have my 2 measuring cups here, one for this pot, one for that pot. This is all I need to make my challah. I need a pot, I need a 4-cup measuring cup, and my hands. That's it. I need a 1/2 cup measuring spoon and 1 tablespoon. That's it. Nothing, just these 4 things. Now we're going to put everything right into our oil while our yeast is proofing. I don't even mix it or anything. I just pour in the water, leave it in there. It proofs on its own. This one I'm going to leave to proof until I finish kneading this one. Okay, so here we go. It is Rosh Hashanah. I do not put honey all year. But only because if I have babies, for like families with like small babies that are under 1 that don't want to serve them honey, things like that, I don't. So just like now I'm just putting in the rest of my sugar. Okay, I really should share it with you guys because I really do love my challah dough recipe because it's very versatile. You can actually totally have the sugar. You could do it by 1/3. The dough will still come out amazing. Oh, okay, get a chair. You can go salty, sweeter. It works as a babka dough. It works as a like it's just really versatile, this challah dough. That's what I really like it. You don't have to be exact. The only thing you have to be exact about is like these measurements, the oil, and the eggs. Everything else is just extra. Okay, and then I always put like a tablespoon of vanilla into my my mix. Even though it's vanilla, it doesn't make it sweet. It just gives it like a depth of flavor. And you can, what baby? You want to cook it with me? Okay. You can still use it for a salty dough. Then you just want to mix this all together, get it really mixed. Now that our yeast proofed, we're going to pour this mixture into here. Okay, that all went in. I just like to mix everything up first because it sort of breaks it down. And this way I know that everything is getting fully incorporated into the liquid. And I don't have to be nervous that egg yolks didn't break, or just everything is equally distributed, you know? Okay, got it. I'm going to go in now with 1 whole bag of flour. That's about 2.2 pounds, so a little less than half of a 5-pound bag. Just want to get that in there. That's going to get it started, and this is really, really easy to mix. Okay, so I like to mix this really, really well. This is also just stretching out gluten. Anything you could do to help the gluten stretch out is going to help make a fluffier challah, and at this stage, it's really, really easy to mix, so why not give it 2 minutes of good mixing? Okay, go. Now it's time for the salt. We don't put the salt in at the beginning because salt kills yeast. They are enemies. So that will also result in less fluffy challah. So we put the flour in first so it could absorb some of the yeast. This way when the flour that was already absorbed acts like a barrier and keeps it really good. Okay, we're just going to get that mixed in, and then we're going to go in with more flour. Okay, wait till we get the next batch. Okay, now it's time for more flour. So for my recipe, I put in another whole bag, which is only 4.4 pounds of flour. I mean, the dough technically does weigh over 5 pounds, which is what you need, but I still put in like 1 or 2 handfuls. Okay, of flour, here we go. I have more handfuls. I'm just gonna add that in. And now you're just going to use the spoon to mix this just until the flour comes together. Then I'm going to dump it out on my counter and knead it by hand. Because if I dump this all out right now, it would just be like a huge mess everywhere. So just use the bowl. It takes like 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, see how it mostly came together now? There's not a lot of loose flour around. Now we're just going to dump this on the countertop, and then we're going to get kneading. There we go. It's a little hard to do one-handed. It's so heavy. Okay, and now we just want to knead. Fold, push, turn. Fold, push, turn. Fold, push, turn. Fold, push, turn. Right, Megs? Fold, push, turn. Just like that until the dough comes together. The more you knead it, the more that the gluten strands in the flour get stretched and the fluffier the challah will be. So I knead mine for about 10 minutes. But you don't really have to look at a watch. The more you do it, you'll start to know when the dough is there. And you could also totally do this in a mixer. You don't have to do it by hand. I just don't have one, and I don't have room on my counter for one, so by hand it is. Okay, and while I'm doing this, I just forgot to say one thing. I do like to use room temperature eggs. And if your flour comes like in a freezer, like checked in Israel.
I want to roll it.
You want to roll it? Okay, 1 second. If it comes checked in a freezer, you want that. I think it just overall creates a better dough. I've tried it both ways a lot of times. The dough is just easier to work with when everything is at room temperature. There's nothing else cold that really goes in. And I guess most people's flours aren't cold, but you know, Israel. Okay, here we go. You can see how nice the dough is now. It all came together. It's beautiful. It's elastic. Look at that. Look at that. Bounces back up. It's just, it's so nice to work with. Okay, this is finished. So excited. Okay, got my dough done. Look at how beautiful this is. Done. Beautiful. I just put a drop of oil on the bottom. Doesn't matter that there's still flour in there. Don't worry. It's all going to get absorbed in. I'm going to take my dough, drop it in just like that. We're going to take a little bit more oil on our hands, like literally tiny amounts. See, like it's not even pooling up, just like that. Rub your hands and just rub the top and the sides of the dough. We want to make sure our dough stays really moist and nice. Okay, now this is just another thing I do. All of these things are things I do. I do not know if they're real things. I do not know if they're necessary. You can also apply them to any recipe you want. I just think they're little tricks that make it just go better and smoother. So directly on the dough, I put 2 pieces, one on this side, and I'll show you. Here, see, it's half covered, and there's an overhang so that as it rises, the overhang goes on the side. So no part of the dough is ever exposed to air because that. Okay, there we go, got it all covered. Now I'm just going to take a kitchen towel, cover the top, set this aside. I actually turned my air conditioning off today in my house because I knew I was making 2 batches of challah dough and I wanted them to rise really nicely, but however you normally let your challah rise. And now it's time for batch number 2. Here we go. Got my proofed yeast, got my egg, oil, vanilla, sugar, honey mixture. Gonna mix that up, add it in, mix it up, flour, salt, you know, same thing all over again. 2 batches of dough, all done. These babies are gonna rise now for a lot of hours. Okay, this is my last thing for making the dough. I think they need to rise as many times as possible. Sometimes not always possible. I always let it rise, punch it down, let it rise again. But on a day like today that I got a really early start and it's not Erev Shabbos, we have all day, I'm gonna punch it down. Okay, so these have been punched down like 2 or 3 times, 3 times I think now. You can see they're on their way rising again. They're super duper fluffy, just how we like them. All right, I gotta go do a bunch of stuff with the kiddos, pick people. And then when I'm between carpools, I was not paid to say that, literally just between carpools. I guess that's why they named their website so appropriately. I will come back and make these challahs. All right, everybody, it's braiding, rolling, crisscrossing challah time. I got my dough here, made my bracha. Don't forget to make your hafresh challah. Causes a lot of problems. Here we go. I have it all divided up. I divide my challah for the round challahs into 5 instead of 6. I don't know why. It's just how I've been doing it since I've gotten married. I always divide it into 5 for Shana. That's what I'm doing. Here's 1 piece. I'm gonna now divide this into 8. The only tip I want to give now is that even though my challah is on the counter, the same saran wrap that I used to cover the dough when it was in the bowl, I put over the pieces of dough because I really don't like when the dough dries out. So I like them to stay nice and moist and snuggly. Here we go. Same thing that we did on Friday. I have my 8 strands of dough rolled out, 2, 4, 6, 8, and I'm just gonna double each strand. So now I have 4 sets. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're gonna start the crisscrossing. First thing you wanna do is get 2 sets, so 2 and 2, perpendicular to each other. Then we're gonna just take one, fold it over, take a 3rd set and just lay it right down in the middle of those 2, fold it back. Now we're gonna take our 4th pair and we're going to lift up the one we didn't lift up before, lay these perpendicular to the vertical set, put these back over, and we have our crosshatch. You don't have to worry about that hole in the middle because as we start to crisscross them, that's gonna anyways close up on its own. Okay, so how do we crisscross? Very simple. You just wanna make sure that the one that's on top is gonna go. Now, okay, done. Now I like to keep, it's the challah. I like to keep crisscrossing because I like to see that weavy effect all throughout. So now we're just gonna continue, but we're not gonna crisscross these back. We're gonna crisscross this one with this one from the other side. Okay, so we're connecting the cord. This one is over, so now it's gonna go under. This one's over, so it gets crisscrossed under. And just go all the way around. Okay, so now we've done 3 rounds of crisscross. We're gonna do one last one. If your strands are not long enough, forget it here. Just tuck them all in, but mine are. So we're just gonna go one last time. Really stretch these. There we go, and now we can start tucking. That's it, tuck. Just make sure that when you tuck, you get them in the middle so that your middle doesn't sink in. And then look at that. Is that beautiful? Okay, I'm gonna get this on the sheet pan and I'm going to cover it with saran wrap. Okay, so now we wanna let this rise for a really long time because we don't want it to crack when it's in the oven and lose that beautiful effect. So because it's rising for so long, I just take a drop of non-stick spray it on my saran wrap because I don't want it to stick to the dough. Just lay the saran wrap on top just like that, and then we're going to add our other challah right here. We're going to keep going doing the same thing, and then in a few minutes I'll show you my next shape. Okay, on to the next. Before we do the next, let me just explain. I only have 2 toppings on my challahs during Rosh Hashanah. Sukkot, I do go back to doing some with everything, some with garlic, like different things going on, but for Rosh Hashanah, I keep it sweet. It's the only time of year I make crumb. And then for my regular challahs, I just brush it with my egg mixture and I sprinkle a little bit of sugar. But for the crumb topping, I am not going to waste my time rolling out 8 strands of dough to just cover it with crumb topping because that's cuckoo. But I also want something that the crumbs can like get stuck in and adhere to and all of that. So here's what I do. I have 2 very long, super duper long strands laid out across the counter. Here's what we're gonna do. So this is what I do. I actually tried to record this process, but I forgot to press the record button. But here's the second half. All we're gonna do is just twist them. Boom, boom, boom. Now we've just created a lot of nooks. And now I have 1 very long twisted rope, and we are just going to boom, 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 boom. Look at that. Look at that. See that beauty? It doesn't, you're not even gonna see it because this one gets covered in crumbs. But what I do love about it is that it looks like a rose. It really does. It's beautiful and it's so easy. Only 2 strands to roll out and a simple twist. It doesn't get better than that. No, here, I'm gonna pick it up. Can you see that? The rose, it's really pretty. It has something for the nooks and crannies to stick into. The sides look beautiful as it cooks so that the crumbs are on top. This still looks gorgeous. It's not just one solid round bob. And that's it. Okay, here we go. So we're just gonna do a recap of the 2 circle methods that I use. First, we have the 8 strands. We have 4 sets, 2, 2, 2, 2. And we have 2 of the sets perpendicular to each other. Lift one up. Stick one the opposite way. There we go. Get the other one in there. Stick that the opposite way. Then crisscross. The one that's on top now gets crisscrossed under. Just keep until you have no dough left. There we go. There we go. There we go. And here we go. Boom. Okay. Okay, oh, wait, one more, and there we go. Method number 1, done. And we're gonna move on to method number 2, quick recap. Okay, method number 2, got my 2 strands. Gonna just start by twisting the first half all the way to the bottom. Just wanna pinch the ends together. Now move on to the second half and roll it up. That's it. Look at that. There we go. Oh, here you go. Now you can see. Ooh, done. Okay guys, see you later. Here we go. Got all my challahs finished up. My 8 strands, my 2 strands, everything done. Now we're gonna just make the crumb topping, so that's ready for when it's time to egg, and that's it. Just let them rise. I like to let them rise. Okay, here we go. I have my crumb mixture. I'm gonna post the recipe for you guys right after I make this. Hold on. You could screenshot it in 1 second. Just get everything mixed up, and then I use regular canola oil for my crumbs. I think they come out fine. Okay, there we go. You could see it makes really nice crumbs, even though it's not margarine. It's fine. Just gonna cover this with the saran wrap, set it on the side, and then all I have to do is egg them, stick them in the oven. Boom, done. Done, done, done. Okay, now for the egg wash, I always do 1 whole egg and 2 yolks because I like how it looks. It makes it extra golden. Plus, it's just not enough 1 egg and 1 yolk, so it just works out perfectly. Today, I'm going to do 2 whole eggs and 4 yolks because we doubled the batch. That's it. Okay, I brushed the challahs with the egg mixture. I'm just going in with a very, very light sprinkling from high up. That's going to give it a nice glossy shine, a little extra sweetness for Rosh Hashanah, and that's it.